So in this video, this is going to be a lot of my own views, my own opinions, my own recollection, my own brain, my own thoughts, how I see where mankind is heading. This is going to be very hard to understand if you are not a creative person, or you're not an artist, or you are someone that doesn't really think about a craft or an art or something creative, something expressive. You might not understand what I mean, but this is where I personally think that mankind is heading. It's just a matter of time. I personally think that sooner or later we are going to be in an age, and I think it's very soon. I don't think it's very far off. I think we are going to be in an age of hyper creativity, an age of where people finally understand through consciousness and through understanding everything in this life, the good, the bad, the ugly, just everything, that the final frontier is craft, is having a craft, is having a dwelling, a creative refuge to be at, to go to be a part of, expressing oneself in that center for craft and creativity. This is where I honestly see mankind heading. To me, it is the final frontier of mankind's thinking and thought. And when we understand this whole thing, it will lead us to that eventually. Many people might not see it now because I think we are kind of blinded by a lot of this technology. Even though I use technology, I think a lot of people are still blinded by programmed mentality. I think a lot of people are still blinded by their phones and blinded by what everybody else is saying, and like a whole bunch of things are just thwarting us from realizing that really we are all here, I think, to be creative, to be craftsmen, to be people that focus on the dwelling of art and Renaissance and craft, and everybody has something to do. They have their place somewhere. It's a very strange thing for me to really make people understand. I'm just going to speak for myself, because I know after all of the things I've been through, after everything I have witnessed, after all the trials and tribulations in my life, after all the drug addiction, after all the family problems, after all the ups and the downs and the rounds and the everything you can possibly think of as a person, as a human being, I truly think that the final frontier of it all is getting back to a creative refuge, to have a craft in that creative refuge. And this will automatically provide our needs when we are excited about some kind of craft or creative art, some kind of Renaissance way of thinking. You see, lately I've been thinking about Renaissance. Like the Renaissance hundreds of years ago, this is our renaissance. This is our time to change how things have been lately, because if you ask me right now, and I think everybody can agree with me on this, I think right now the world is dead. I think most people are dead, even including myself with a lot of things. There are creative people, don't get me wrong. There are people that have a craft. There are people that are very skilled. There are people that do the things they do every day, and some people are very excited about it, and some people are not too excited about it. And I can't speak for the entire world, but I know that I am speaking for a very, very big crowd of people out there in oblivion. I guarantee you, as I'm looking at this complex with all these houses over here, I guarantee you that there are creative people over here that have a craft, and the lives that they're living, they don't really want to live, but they have been kind of forced into that. They have been kind of set up by the way the rest of society does things. That's how they're living. And really, when it comes down to it, when you understand yourself and you understand the world and you understand philosophy and you understand scripture and doctrine and you understand people, places, and things, and you understand history and agriculture and spirituality and art and creativity and music and writing and attitudes and mindsets and lifestyles and food and just animals, everything. You just understand everything. You realize that what we are looking for, the root of what we are looking for, is our own refuge, our own dwelling, our own presence unto each other, some kind of loyal presence to the craft we do, or the art we do, the creative things we do, the things that excite us, the things that drive us to do things, to make things better while we can, instead of making our lives shittier or worse or all that stuff. Why would anybody honestly want to live a life like that? And here's what I have noticed. I really hope everybody listens to what I'm saying, because I know that I'm not a popular channel. I know that I don't get a lot of views. I know I don't get a lot of subscribers, and don't ask me why I don't. It really doesn't make sense to me. I guess it just isn't written in the stars right now. But I know that I'm going to eventually manifest something. I know, because I'm telling myself this. It's just not happening now. It's not the time. And you know what? I lost train of thought from what I was going to say, but that's okay, because what is meant to happen will happen. And I never force the issue. I never force anything. And I'm just thinking Renaissance. I'm thinking how to live a life that I want to live and be my creative self. You see, like, why? It makes no sense for us to live lives that we don't want to live, and going to some job we hate every day, and to keep trying to impress other people and the world. See, this, I'm not saying I'm not, see, I know when I say these things, it sounds really cliche. It might sound corny or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're a little too sarcastic with this, but I don't know how else to say it, but I am in the world. I'm not saying that I don't like and love things in this world. I'm not saying that I'm not a part of this world, but a worldly kind of mentality. Like it doesn't, it's very hard to explain to people what I mean when I say a worldly mentality. It is the mentality that we have been groomed with from other people or people close to us because they were one time groomed with things. But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with tradition or like what your grandmother used to cook or stuff like that. I don't have a problem with it. I just, when you know it's a life that you don't want to live, when you know that it's a life that is not meant for you, sometimes you have to break away from the crowd. You have to break away from the norm. You have to break away from the stagnation. And when you want to change something, when something in your life is not how you want it to be, people are going to say, "What happened to you? Why are you being this way? You're being a jerk. You're being a dickhead now. You're acting different." Of course I'm acting different because I'm tired of doing this same shit. I need to change some things. I need to do some different things in my life. I need to experiment with myself. I need to create things. I need to express this human shell that I am in all the time. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing that you do. And that's never going to stop. As long as I'm a human being, I'm going to remain to do human things. And in all the things that I understand that when I look at this piece of land, all that I can think of now, all that comes to my mind is, I want to cut this grass. So for that, I need a lawnmower. I need some resources. I need some tools to do that. I want to cut this grass and I want to make a foundation, a strong foundation, and I want to start building something. But right now, I don't have the necessary things to do that. And I know I've been saying that for a long time. And it bothers me that I have to say that now. It's not ready to happen, but it will manifest eventually. And all that I hope for is that it manifests in everybody else's lives how it's supposed to for them. That I simply, if anything, I wish to inspire people to spark their own creativity, for them to spark some kind of craft in their own soul, in their own being, in their own essence. That's all that I want to see with people. And when I see that, that is the thing that I will resonate with the most, is when I see people doing something of their own for their own. That's where it's all at. And if you want us to be honest, the family has kind of fell apart, if we're being honest. Not every family. A lot of families have kind of fell apart nowadays. And if we're being honest, this is getting back to something that's kind of like a commune of creativity. It's not getting back to the family. If you want to call it family, that's fine. If you want to call it whatever, I don't like labeling it anything. It doesn't need a label. Creativity doesn't need a label. Art does not need a label because it is what it is when it is. Do you see, I know I keep saying this, y'all, and I know this might even be boring some people, because when you're on this frequency, this vibration, this energy, this resonance, when you're on this and you from the tone of my voice, I know I yell sometimes and I get excited because this is how I truly feel. This is all that I know now. And I can't try to act like something I'm not. I can't get on here and attempt to make it some way so that everybody will understand or do this or that. I'm just going with the flow right now. I'm just letting this happen how it happens. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm just experimenting. I'm just speaking my mind. And I think that's what manifest means. I think it is just being your genuine, authentic self. And I think today, I think that genuine authenticity is almost shunned today for some odd, strange reason. It's like people don't want to get involved with that. That's too real. Then I have to say some things about myself. I gotta kind of like expose my life, and I gotta get, serious sometimes, and I gotta see. Here's what I wanted to get into. This is what I wanted to talk about. As you get older, as you become more mature minded, as you become, even though I would say still be like a child, still be like a kid, don't ever lose that side of you. Because when you lose that, I think you lose your soul. I think you lose your life when you lose your child side. Don't ever lose your child side, because your child side is your fun side. It's the side that wants to do things and experiment and looks at stuff and wonders about it. But as you get older, you start to realize that you're tired of living in this shell. You're tired of holding back how you really see things, how you really feel about yourself and others. And you just get tired of holding this image up. You get tired of wearing the mask for the world. You get tired of just the monotony and the cliche things, the things that you don't relate to, but then you have to act like you do because you think you got to fit in or something. You just let go of the weight that is on you and just say, look, I'm done. I'm done. I can't hold on to this no more. I can't try to be something for this world anymore. I'm letting go. And with that, this just comes with the territory of being a creative person, or someone with a craft, or someone that is sick and tired of living a certain way, or you want to change something. You have to, people are going to ask you, what's going on with you? What has happened with you? It ain't that you want that to happen, but that's gonna come, y'all. That's gonna come, fellas. That's gonna come, my gals, my ladies. That's going to come if you are a genuine, authentic being that expresses itself all the time. You're not trying to be anything anymore for the world. It's gonna come. People are gonna go, you changed, you're acting funny. Why are you being that way? What made you do this? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? And that's okay, because all that, if people respond to you like that, it's because they're in some kind of stagnation. They're in some kind of shell. They're in some kind of place that they don't really like. But they're not saying that, they're not expressing that, so I feel like I gotta be the one to do it all the time for myself. But I know I can't do it for other people, but I gotta do it for me. And listen, I'm tired of like thinking on this channel, on this platform, oh, don't say this, don't say that, don't let them know too much of this, hold this back, don't say everything. Nah, I'm done with that. I'm saying what I gotta say for myself. I do not care anymore about that kind of thinking. I care about certain things, but I don't care that I have to say what I have to say or express myself how I gotta do that. And that's what I truly think is coming with mankind, is it's going to be this kind of creative rebellion renaissance, but not rebellion in a bad way, in a way where we're understanding how life is, and we're understanding the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything that comes with it and goes with it, and understanding that it is a paradox and it's a contradiction, and putting all that stuff in your art and in your craft and building something, having some kind of refuge. even though I have not manifested that yet, this is what I'm thinking of while I'm still alive, while I'm still living. And it's going to take time. I know this. I don't have everything. Like, just because you can't show people, like, look at this house that I built behind me. Look at these plants that I'm planting, and look at these watermelons I grew, or look at this picture I drew. Look at this thing that I'm working on now. You don't have to have everything going to just start from the smallest place. Like right now, I'm uploading, just me messing around with my music and stuff. I'm just uploading anything. I'm just making something out of nowhere, and I'm just uploading it. I still have music that I have saved, that I have stored somewhere that I've never put out there. But in the meantime, I am just getting used to expressing myself without thinking I have to make it a certain way for the world. I'm just simply putting it out there. I'm making it and putting it out there. I'm just getting used to going with the flow, not overthinking things too much. Because when you overthink, you're destroying creativity. You're destroying what is happening now. Right when you start overthinking, it just completely ruins everything. Thinking is actually, even though we think, you can't help from thinking. People go like, oh, don't think so much. You're overthinking. And I know it sounds hypocritical, me sitting here saying this. There's this little chipmunk here. Every time I come back here, he's standing there and he's looking at me, and he like comes almost up to me and he don't even move. It's really weird. It's like he's not even afraid. But yeah, it's just expression. And I truly think that we are heading into an age of a new renaissance of hyper creativity. And I know how a lot of people are using this AI stuff, and some people are into that and whatever. I don't really know what to say about that. It's not for me as a person. I'm not into the AI stuff personally. I'm not into it. It's not the human element in creating. It's something that is generating itself from a programmed thing, you know, and some people are into that stuff. I'm just personally not into that kind of stuff, personally. And I lost train of thought from what I was saying, because when you are just letting things be and just speaking your mind, you're not supposed to have it set up the way you're speaking. You see what I'm saying? A speaker that is a genuine speaker, they are going to lose train of thought because they're not overthinking about the next thing. You see what I'm saying? That's what I was saying about overthinking. Like, there's too many people in the world, we're overthinking stuff all the time. We're thinking of how do I need to change this thing? How do I need to go about doing this? How should I say this to them? Don't do that. You've already set yourself up for disaster when you do it like that. You already set yourself up to become fake. When something's genuine, it messes up. It trips, it falls, it fails, it doesn't do good at first. When you're genuine, that's what will happen when you are authentic. You're going to trip and fall. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to say things that you go, oh, I didn't say that before. Why did I say that? Because you're being unique and genuine. You're saying it in the moment. You're not trying to make it anything. And see, if the world would put this into their thought and their thinking, and they would apply that to their life, and they would apply that to some craft, some art, some creative thing, something they're passionate about, or something that they're into. And maybe you're into dark art. Maybe you're into drawing skeletons. Maybe you're into things that people think are dark or are bad, but it's just the way of life. It's just how things are. You see, I don't look at anything like that anymore. I don't look at when people are drawing skulls or insects, spiders or something with a candle or something. I don't say, oh, that's dark. It's just a picture of something that someone's drawing. You see, it ain't like you don't become a genre or a type of thing. You don't become a specific category of something. You are the category. You are the genre. You are the art. You are the Renaissance. You are the creativity. Do you understand what I mean by this label thing? I know we use labels to identify things. I know we use names and we put things to things and we say this is this and this is that and that does this. I understand that. But it's flowetry is something that is kind of like a skill set when you can genuinely flow with something. Genuine flow is the happening, how it's happening. This video is not set up. I didn't sit here and think about what I was going to say before I said it. I just thought in my mind, creativity and craft is going to be the final frontier. A dwelling, a refuge, a commune, a place, a center for these things. Somewhere where at the end of the day you can go, but even outside of that, you're moving around, you're doing things, you're experimenting. It's not like a stuck kind of mentality. It's not a stagnant mentality. It's not a mentality that is bored and hating life all the time. I'm speaking for me. Like, that is no way to live life. That's no way for me to live my life. And don't get me wrong, I have things come up. I gotta really watch because I can get very depressed. I can start thinking some thoughts that ain't good. I thought about suicide before. I thought about how I can't stand this thing and how life sucks in this way when this is happening. I am just another human being. I am just another person like everybody else. But the way that I am thinking, the way that my consciousness is doing what it's doing now, I'm not trying anymore. I'm not forcing anymore. I'm not deliberately saying do this or do that, or don't do this or don't do that. Even if I say those things, I'm just speaking for myself at that time. Because once you understand how judgment works, how most of the time we're judging ourselves. We're not really judging others in the world. We're judging ourselves. Reflecting is not judging yourself. Reflecting is being honest with how you feel right now. Reflecting is saying what you need to say. Because I truly, truly believe that when you suppress feelings and emotions and you hold on to stuff and you're being nice to people when you don't really feel like that, or you're wearing this mask and facade and you're not really getting things out. You're not getting over that fear. I really think that that can develop diseases, cancers, lymphomas, rashes on your skin. I swear to goodness, I really, really believe this. I really believe, and I'm going to use the word believe in this to explain what I mean. I think that when I was feeling how I was feeling and when I felt sick, it was because I was holding back something. I wasn't really truly saying the words that I really wanted to say. And I was holding stuff in. I was suppressing things. And I still do this from time to time. It's why I have to watch. I have to keep an eye on me too. I have to remind myself too. I have to sometimes sit there and say, Nate, well, what are you doing? Like taking a moment to realize things for myself. And that's how I think a lot of cancers and diseases and illness and bad health is brought upon. Plus diet, lifestyle, a lot of stuff goes into it. But I know for myself, when I suppress shit, it's not good for me mentally, physically, whatever you want to call it, spiritually, psychologically, consciously. It's not good. It's not a good thing. It never is. And don't ever be ashamed to express yourself. There's no need to feel ashamed when you got to say what you got to say. If you're having a bad day and you got to say you're having a bad day, that's life. If you have something going on and you need to talk about it, talk about it. It doesn't matter what another person says about the stuff, because you got to do it for yourself. And see, this is why I think a lot of these things develop, because we're so in fear of what the world will think, other people will think. We're so in fear that I can't create my own thing because they're not going to agree with it. They're going to judge it. They're going to say, why am I doing this? And we have got to stop thinking like that, y'all. We got to stop thinking like that. All we're going to do is thwart ourselves. All we're going to do is feel bad about ourselves. All we're going to do is have a negative mindset and down ourselves. All we're going to do is make ourselves sick. And I'm sorry, that's what comes with the territory of all that. But there's a time to be negative. I understand when people are negative. I'm negative about a lot of shit. But my negativity is honest. As long as you're being honest about your negativity, then that is something genuine. It's something true. As long as you're being genuine about what you're positive about, that is true. Whatever anything is going on and you're just expressing it in the moment, that's what it is. This is just a reminder for myself too. When I go on these walks and I do these videos, this is me reminding myself. This is me speaking to myself. And then I put it out there so it can maybe inspire another person, so it can maybe help someone else, so it can maybe get someone else to move if they've been sitting around for too long, or to get someone to maybe do something healthy instead of unhealthy for themselves, or to change something about themselves. That's what's going on in my mind, but that doesn't mean that's going to happen. And I don't have an expectation for either or to happen. I don't have an expectation anymore. I'm just letting it be what it is. Simply letting it be what it is and letting go. When we use this term, let go, what are we really saying to ourselves when we say let go? I'm letting go. What do we really mean by that when we really think about it? It means to quit holding up an image of yourself. It means to quit trying to be something for the world. It means to quit putting on this facade. It means to quit acting nice to someone if you feel as though you need to tell someone, look, don't appreciate or I don't really agree with what you're saying, and you might disagree, you gotta let that shit out. You gotta talk about it. And that's why I don't get mad anymore when people say things or people say whatever's on their mind or they disagree or they don't like something. You gotta let people speak. I'm not here to say anything anymore about whatever people have to say for themselves, because that's what they have to say for themselves. So if you would stop judging me and I would stop judging you on them things, then we can listen to one another instead of judging and thinking that we have to change that thing in the moment of what we're saying. No, just let it be what it is. Let go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. This is a form of letting go, what I'm doing right now. It's a form of letting go. I'm not trying to make this video nothing. This is just what I need to do right now. And I felt like expressing myself, and I felt like doing a video, and I felt like taking a walk, and I felt like speaking about these things, and I felt like saying, I think that the future of mankind is hyper creativity, is craft, is a dwelling, a refuge, somewhere where you can build and you can plant and you can do things every day that you're excited about and things like that. That's where I think that a lot of the world is heading, even though we might not know it yet. That's what I'm manifesting in my own mind. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen like I think it's going to all happen, because I know that that's also ridiculous. Because nothing ever goes how you think it's going to go. It never does. It never, ever, ever does. And this ain't about being right or wrong anymore. It's not about if I'm right or I'm wrong. And I know now it is either I'm going to do something I want to do, or I'm not going to do anything, and I'm going to say, okay, now's not the time for that. But when the time comes, it's the time. And having to do that, I won't lie, it is something that even to this day, for me, I don't like it. I don't like when I have to end a video sometimes, or I have to sit in silence, or I have to kind of reinvigorate myself, or I have to pause and I have to sit still with something. Because I really think we are in an age of instantaneous things. You know, our patience is very, very short and thin and next to none. How many people can just sit around with each other anymore and sit in a circle and just sit there and stare into each other's eyes and not really say much of anything and be comfortable? How many people can do that today? How many people force themselves to be in those kinds of situations, or to be around, just to be around people, just to sit with someone, or to sup with someone, or to be in the presence of another person or others without thinking that you have to do something? You see what I'm saying? Even though there's a time for that, there's also a time where, can you just sit with another person? Can you just be there in their presence? Like, can you sit on this video and bask in the pausing and the quietness and the reflecting on silence sometimes too? That also comes with it too. So that's just some of my thoughts. And I guess this is the time where I end the video, I guess. I suppose. See, when you just sit and don't try to make anything happen, it's almost like things come automatically. It's like you don't even have to do anything. Something will sooner or later come up again. That's just how the mind is. That's how consciousness is. It's a very strange thing. It's a very weird phenomenon. And my mind is picturing, as I'm looking in this field, I'm picturing something, building something, planning something, like making this something creatively, putting things where I want them to be. Like, kind of like I don't know, some video game where you're creating a city or a town, or making cars and putting the colors you want to it and the shapes and the design. That's how I've always been. And I can't help that I'm like that. I love being like that most of the time, but there are times where I want to shut this off and it's very hard. It's kind of like the saying, the gift and the curse of creativity. Yes, it is a gift, but it can become a curse when you don't discipline yourself to shut it down, or to say, okay, enough's enough, like I gotta give it a rest. Sometimes I don't want to give it a rest. Sometimes I want to keep doing it, and I want to keep making music, or I want to keep walking or doing something or talking in a video. I don't want to stop sometimes because I have an addiction. I guess I have an addiction to expression too, if that's the word I want to use, but it's a healthy addiction. Just like working out is a healthy addiction until you do it way too much. Like Bruce Lee, I think Bruce Lee passed away because he was exercising way too much, and when he took the medicine or whatever he did, something happened and he had a reaction, and I think he just completely overdid it because he was that passionate about it. The thing he loved killed him. And this is something Charles Bukowski said. He said, do what you love. Let what you love kill you. And I kind of agree with that. Like, I mean, if you're doing something you love, would you rather live a life doing that, or would you rather be miserable and hate everything and just live in agony and torture, and every day you're waking up like, why the hell am I here? Even though I think like that sometimes. But it's like, man, that is just no way to live this life. It's no way to be a person in this world and go through that all the time. It's just not. So I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't have answers to this thing we call life or consciousness or anything. I don't have answers. All I have is expression. All I have is creativity. All I have is art. All I got is my consciousness. All I have is now. And I'm learning that. I'm learning that right now for myself. I'm still learning. I don't have all this figured out. So it's always like when you seem like you know, you really don't know. But then when you say, I don't know, you do know. Understanding that paradox that's always there. And I think creativity is some kind of paradox in and of itself. I think creation is a paradox. I think consciousness is a paradox. I think art, music, videos, writing, building, everything that man has ever known. Where did all this information come from? How did a man know to build a house? How did a man know to build the pyramids? How did men and women know how to plant food? How did they know how to build cars, skyscrapers, invent these medicines and stuff. How do we know that? That is just mind-blowing when I think about it. It's absolutely mind-blowing that through us, something did these things. Do you think it was us? Do you think it was the man or the woman that just somehow came up with this? No, this came from something unexplainable, some mystery, some source that it just cannot be fully described. And for some reason, it's not presenting itself, or it's not allowing us to fully know, or maybe we are not there yet. Maybe we're not ready. I don't know. I could sit here and I can get into a whole nother conversation about this. See, this is what I mean. It doesn't stop with me because the mystery is so strange. It's so bizarre. It's so, when you really think about this, your whole life, your whole mentality transitions into something new. It's not stagnant anymore. It's not of the old things that you used to think and the patterns and stuff. It becomes something different. It changes. It's like, what I once was, I'm not now, and I'm always changing. Everything is always different. So I can't be held to something. I am not in bondage to anything anymore. I am a free individual that is pure expression all the time. And I know that I might seem like cliche, or I might sound like sarcastic, or I might seem like I'm trying to be some kind of spiritual leader or something or whatever. I promise I am not doing any of that. It is just accepting that this is what is happening right now, and whatever's around me is around me. And there is no other. The way these birds flew, that will never happen again. The way that I'm walking, the pattern I'm walking, how I'm looking around, I will never do that again. It's so unique, it's so genuine and authentic that this moment will never happen again, and the next moment, and the next moment. And really, there is no time. It's just all now happening in the present moment around me. And I think that is so bizarre. That is so strange. That is such a paradox that it blows my mind every time I think about it, and it never gets old. It's always something new, and I always have new thoughts that come, even though I don't know how to say that to people. I don't know how to give you that, because it can only be experiments. It can only be experienced within yourself and your own consciousness. You can't give this to another person. It can only be experienced by the person unto themselves. That's why every conscious being is unique in that way, because they have the ability to think for themselves. They don't have to walk the way everybody's going. You can turn around. I don't have to walk down this road just because there's a pavement there. I can walk in this grass field if I want. I might get some ticks on my legs. I might get dirty and funky, but guess what? I did it because I wanted to do it, and I did it. I didn't walk along here because, everybody else is doing it, or, I got to go this way, or I got to do this thing because everybody else is doing that, so I automatically have to fall in line. That's fake. That's phony stuff. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's like a realm of delusion happening in, I think, I don't want to sit here and talk about others. I'm just saying I know for myself this to be true. And the imagination is just another topic. See, there is a world in every one of these things that I speak of. There is many points that I want to make. There is many things I want to talk about. Imagination, creativity, being different, changing things. There's so many things that when you talk about it, there's a whole world in and of itself of expression to where we can inspire each other with it. There's always inspiration around every single topic, around every piece of art. Every statue, every building, every walkway, every piece of land. There is something new there to be discovered, or something new to discuss, or it's just, you have to manifest that thinking. If you start thinking different, you will live different. If you're tired of something and you want to change it, we can do that if we really want to do it. We don't have to stay there where we're at because our mind is telling us that. And I don't mean to sound so serious. I really don't. I don't mean to sound so serious. But I'm not being serious and I'm not lightening up. It's just what's happening right now. It's just what is being spoken. And I think that is awesome. And I think that is a mystery. And I think that it's unique. It's genuine. It's something that's never going to happen anywhere else. And anything anyone else is talking about, that is their own creativity. They're not another person. And don't try to be like anybody else. Even though we might see something in each other that we like, that we resonate with, anytime you try to fit into a mold, you're going to find yourself being stuck. You're going to find yourself saying, this is fake, this is not real, this is not me. So don't try to fit in anywhere. Be what you are all the time. Express what you are all the time. Feel what you feel all the time. Let it be known how you really see things all the time. So I'm out of time. I got 52 seconds and 52:26. So, and listen, y'all, any support to the channel, please help support the channel if you can. I need support. Like, share, and subscribe, y'all.